All right, we are live. And what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the GoatCast podcast. I am CW. Sorry, I'm out of breath, but just moving some stuff around. Want to give a big shout out to CW3, my son. His birthday's today. So I'm in another location because he's got his friends over, and 15-year-olds can get a little rowdy. So doing pretty good today. How about yourself, BigNige?
I'm doing pretty good. Kind of tired. Kind of ready for this week to be over. So I'm just ready for it, man. But today is a good topic, so I'm ready to deep dive it.
Okay, well let's go ahead and deep dive. Sunday, the Olympics started. Opening ceremony was this Friday, and Sunday opened up Team USA basketball play, and they played Nikola Jokic and Serbia, winning that game 110-84. So before we get into performances and stats and all that, what do you think about Team USA and Serbia from this matchup?
I think Team USA approached this game with the level of attention to detail and the poise that you know I alluded to in the last video that they would look to come out against a team that they already played, already matched up with. They knew what Serbia had to offer. They knew what Nikola Jokic brings to the table with that team. They are a big team. They're physical. They get up in Team USA early. Team USA rolled with the punches. Um, and so I know there's a graphic out there floating around that's like when Jokic is on the floor, I think it's like 81-81. And then when he
Mm-hmm.
sits down, I think Team USA dominates them like 29-3.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so that to me is the key. That team can only go as far as Jokic, whereas Team USA, they can be led by LeBron, KD, Steph, you name it, which game. Embiid can look good at some points, and then sometimes he can look kind of sluggish. So we got all these components going on for Team USA who can win them a game. Whereas Serbia, it has to be on the back of Nikola Jokic. So we kind of knew what Serbia had brought to the table with Jokic as the forefront. Everybody else just kind of falls in line. And we knew that Team USA was going to be led by LeBron. And of course, another character that made his debut game, Kevin Durant. So I'll let you get more into the stats, but those two guys were obviously the biggest X factors. And Nikola Jokic can only do so much.
Yeah, piggybacking on that, I think this pretty much showed Serbia is unfortunately, and I hate to say this, it shows them that they're not athletic. They're way too unathletic to play against Team USA, and I think this game exemplified that. Um, from from the performances of both LeBron James, Kevin Durant, everybody but maybe I would say Joel Embiid, who 4 points. I know he had a bunch of fouls from the time I watched it. So yeah, it just showed that Serbia is just not athletic enough to play against a team like Team USA. And what it also showed me is that Team USA's bench would be starters on almost all of these different countries' teams. So when you're bringing in starter level players all the time, I mean, it's just going to be a nightmare for teams. And the other thing is Serbia shot horribly this game. They were 9 for, I believe, 37, 26% from three. So in FIBA play and international play, if you're 9 for 37, 26%, and the team you're facing is 56%, as Team USA was, I mean, you might as well hang it up. So with that said, like you talked about, LeBron James was great. Kevin Durant, who made his debut, he was, I would say, electric. Watching him just light up in 17 minutes, he lit up Serbia. I mean, hands in his face, guys in front of him. It was just automatic. 5 for 5 from three, 8 for 9 altogether. Almost flawless game. So, with that said, who do you think shined the most this Sunday in that game? I'll give you LeBron's stats. He was 21, I believe it was 21, 7, and 9, or was it 21, 8, and 9? I believe it was 7 and 9.
Yeah, I
Had
think it was
21
7 and 9.
points. I believe he had 7 rebounds and 9 assists. So who was the hero of Sunday's game, the 110-84 victory over Serbia?
I'll give the hero to Kevin Durant. You know, one of the question marks I had about Team USA going into Olympic play was, the status of Joel Embiid and Kevin Durant. And so far, we've kind of continued to see what we're seeing from Joel Embiid. Maybe he doesn't fit as well as the other players on this roster because, he does need the ball in his hands to be effective. Maybe he's gotten used to that kind of style of play, being the man in Philadelphia. There's a lot of things that we don't know, but we can clearly see he's out of shape, and he's kind of the odd man out as of this point. So we still need, Joel Embiid to play better. For us to be leaps and bounds with everybody and continue to be like that, we're going to need Joel Embiid and his steady, offensive and defensive presence. Having said all of that, Kevin Durant comes in, lights them up. I mean, he's a walking mismatch no matter where you place him, and because of how great Team USA's players are, they can't double Kevin Durant like the Minnesota Timberwolves did in this past postseason, right? You can't help off him. So there's going to a lot of wide open shots for a guy like Kevin Durant, and that's easy money sniper, man. That's cash money. Go ahead and book it. So, he lit them up in great fashion. Now, did I expect Kevin Durant to not miss a shot? No, but he just shows you that you give him good looks, he's going to make you pay for it. So I think this is a good reminder for everybody who's coming up, especially South Sudan, who's got them tomorrow, that they're going to be paying attention. All right, we can't leave him open. We got to force somebody else to beat us. Maybe they're going to look to make Joel Embiid beat them. They're going to maybe close out to the perimeter and just see what they can give to a guy like Joel Embiid. Can he put them over the top when they take away the perimeter play? Because Team USA, they hit like 17 threes against Serbia. So, I mean, that was an astronomical performance. Can Team USA replicate that going forward? We'll see, because you can live by the 3 and you can die by the 3. So definitely those things to unpack. But, giving KD his flowers, he came in, he did his thing, he got buckets. He definitely was that turning point in that game where when they plugged him in, he was going crazy. I think he sparked like an 11-0 run. And then the game just wasn't close after that, at least in my opinion. So I definitely give it to Kevin Durant, and it shows you just why, Kevin Durant's like the number 1 scorer for the Team USA. And, a guy like Carmelo Anthony, whose name gets kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit, but his name's been coming up because they're comparing him to like Jason Tatum, and they're comparing LeBron to MJ, et cetera, et cetera. So it just speaks to great shooters and great scorers. Their game translate very well to the FIBA rules. So I give it to Kevin Durant.
Okay, I'm slightly shocked that you gave it to Kevin Durant, but both guys, it just goes to show you how great those guys are. I mean, I might be a LeBron hater, but seeing somebody nearly 40 years old go out there in international play and put up a near triple double, which is not easy in FIBA play, that's great. And Kevin Durant, it was a sight to see just how he came in and just instantly just lit it up. And it shows you how important he is for that team and how great he is in international play. I did a video on the channel where I ranked the 5 most important players, and he was my number 1 just because of what he did. He's similar to me to what Kobe did for that Redeem team, that 2012 team, what Carmelo Anthony did for that 2016 team, and what he did for that 2020 team. He was just lights out, and that's what you need in this type of play. You need somebody that can get buckets wherever he's on the court. If it's a mid-range, it's a 3. If you can get to the basket, you need somebody that can be multifaceted in their approach and in their attack. And I think that's what KD is, and that's why he is the highest scorer of Team USA all time. I do believe this is his 4th or it might be his third. I think he was 2012, 2016, 2020, and this year, I believe. So this is his fourth, I believe, Olympic game. So the guy's just good, and I'm gonna give him the game ball. He deserves it. He was the catalyst that pretty much sparked that run that got. And Team USA probably would have won either way, but it was just his impact just got them rolling and got them going, because that game to start off was kind of nip tuck back and forth. But once they inserted KD, it was a different ball game. And just a side note, this wasn't on the on the list, but I just want to touch on this. Does KD's return hurt Jason Tatum? Because as we saw, Tatum got a DNP. Derek White from that same Boston Celtics team had 15 minutes where Jason Tatum had none. And he is, he was what, fourth, fifth in MVP voting this year, and he is not playing in the Olympic game. So do you think KD's return sparked that?
Nah, I think it's more of the coaching aspect, of Steve Kerr, one of your biggest question marks from the last video, and things that, what could be concerning for Team USA. Now, granted, Steve Kerr has the great minds of Ty Lue and Eric Spoelstra on that bench out there for coaching. So, I mean, I don't think it's like a red flag. I think South Sudan is a better matchup for Tatum. They're bigger, they're more athletic. We could see guys like potentially Devin Booker struggling a little bit more, Derek White struggling. I think Tatum can take those minutes and use his size, his strength, his mobility on the floor to shake some things up both offensively and defensively. So I just think it was a one-off. I think maybe they could have come. Steve Kerr could have came to him early and be like, "Hey, young fella, KD's getting his first game back. You're probably going to take a little seat in the back burner. We might need you in certain spurts in this game, but we also might not." Clearly, they did not need Tatum, but I definitely think they need him for this next game tomorrow against South Sudan, because they do not want to take light of that situation unless they want to lose.
Shout out to South Sudan, who put Puerto Rico away on Sunday as well. Just a quick, what do you think about that matchup tomorrow? Is it a lot for Team USA? Did you like what you saw Sunday, and that's enough for them to get by South Sudan, or should we go into this game a little cautious? Mostly because of what happened in the exhibition game. Those guys would run them off the court. So should they come in with a little caution, or do you feel good since they blew out Serbia on Sunday?
I think Steph Curry said it best when asked about facing South Sudan again. I think the word he said was they have an appropriate amount of fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think South Sudan gave them the wake-up call they desperately needed. A team took them down to the wire. And I'm not going to say South Sudan is the only team that took them down the wire, because we saw them, struggle with Australia. They struggled at moments with Serbia. So I will say that they have the appropriate amount of fear for them. They got Team USA's respect, and I look for them to make a statement tomorrow. I'm not going to say they're going to blow out South Sudan. I think it still is going to be relatively close. I think Team USA will pull away down the stretch on the backs of guys like Kevin Durant, LeBron James. I think Steph Curry is going to come do his thing. Jason Tatum might have something to prove. He might give you 15, 20 minutes of solid production. Mm-hmm. I think a combination of those pieces and the camaraderie of this new found light for Team USA, I think they'll get the job done. And I say in a double-digit fashion.
Yeah, I think they should come in with a little slight fear, but I think this Serbia game was a good way for them to start off. They got the bugs out their stomach, they got the nervousness out the way. So now I think they're poised for this South Sudan game, and they're ready. They know what to expect. They know what South Sudan has. So I think they're going to come in, be ready. Like you said with Jason Tatum, I think Tatum will get some minutes. I hope he gets some minutes against South Sudan, or I would be upset. But I think he'll give some minutes there. KD's just, I mean, he's just that difference maker. I think with KD, I'm not too worried about South Sudan. They'll probably give a good fight for a half, but after that, I think, like you said, the Team USA is going to pull away, and it'll probably look kind of like the Serbia game where it looked close and looked like it would be competitive at first, but then Team USA does what they do best and they win. So, with that said, many of the players on Team USA are also on a list we're going to talk about here in a little while. ESPN did their top 25 players of the 21st century. So, from 2000 till now, who are the top 25 players that came through the NBA at that time? And we'll get into that list of 25 in a little while. But first we're going to start off with our top five, excuse me, of the 21st century. And there's only 5 guys that can really believably be in that. It's just their placement. So we're going to start with BigNige and his top 5 of the 21st century. And let me remove this so we can see your list. So you want to go into your your opinions or why you put these guys in this list in this order.
Yeah, sure. I won't give too much to not make this video super duper long, but obviously, you know, anybody who knows me knows LeBron's my GOAT, and you know we're looking at from beginning of his career till current day. So LeBron's number one for me. I think being the all-time scoring leader, four Finals MVPs, 4 regular season MVPs, the boatload of accolades I don't need to list right here, but we understand what LeBron James is. Arguably, in some people's eyes, top 3. If you want to throw Kobe, MJ, Bron, you want to shuffle them, whatever, that's fine. But LeBron is in that conversation, so it shouldn't be no surprise that he's number 1 on this list. Obviously, you can make the same argument for Kobe Bryant. I know some people will have Kobe first, Bron 1, maybe Kobe, Tim Duncan, Bron, whatever you want to do. But obviously, we know what the Black Mamba is. He is the Black Mamba. Again, I don't need to go through all the different stats, the all NBAs, MVPs, all defensive selection teams. We understand what Kobe Bryant is. We understand that he's the second greatest shooting guard. Some believe he's even better than Mike in terms of just his whole offensive package. He says, MJ 2.0 in the things that he was able to accomplish individually compared to MJ, where he had his, that full Bulls roster, Phil Jackson, all those years, et cetera, et cetera. Then we got Tim Duncan, greatest power forward of all time. Don't need to get into that too much. There's other guys on the list, KG, Dirk, even to a lesser extent, Giannis. But I mean, none of those guys are close enough to Tim. You said what?
You said a lesser extent, Giannis?
Yeah, I mean, Giannis ain't. Nah, man. He got to do more before he's in the greatest power forward discussion. He's got to put a little bit more hardware on there and prove it. Right now he's showing injury prone is who he is right now. I mean, everybody has recency bias, and he's looking pretty hobbled and pretty fragile. The likes of maybe Anthony Davis. We'll see. But we know what Tim Duncan brings to the table. Arguably one of the greatest defensive players of this generation. Even well into his late 30s, he was still one of the most formidable shot blockers just by his presence alone. So we understand what he brings to the table. Now, Shaquille O'Neal being at number 4, right? Even though Shaq didn't have the longevity that these other guys on my list have, and you know me, I'm big on longevity. I always say my postseason success. I'm not gonna kill y'all with the stats right here, but Shaq's peak was so dominant, you could arguably put him number 1 on this list, and I won't even be mad. He was so dominant against the Indiana Pacers. I mean, 38 points on like 61% field goal percentage, almost like 14, 15 rebounds a game, like 2.7 blocks per game. Like peak Shaq, I would take him. If we're talking one game, I would take peak Shaq almost damn near anybody. That's how great he was, the most dominant big man to ever play this game. We understand that. And then Coming at 5 for me, Steph Curry. Now, I'm not going to be mad if someone doesn't have Steph in this top 5, but I mean, if you get dubbed the greatest something in this generation, you have to be on this list, right? And it's not like he's just on this list because he's called the greatest shooter ever. It's not like he's on this list because he's revolutionized the game. He's turned it where everybody is a 3-point shooting team now. Like, this is because of him, what he's been able to do, what that Golden State Warrior team has been able to do in large part because of his style of play, right? You take all those into consideration. He's got the MVP, the unanimous MVP. He's got the championships, albeit some might be weighted a little differently when you have Kevin Durant on your team. But all that to say, he's in contention for being the greatest point guard ever in some people's eyes. I still got Magic Johnson. But again, this is for the 2000s to 2024. So I have Steph Curry as 5 because, again, he can go toe-to-toe with the likes of LeBron James. He's done it on the biggest stage.
Yeah.
So that puts him at 5 for me.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, you can't go wrong with those 5, and those 5 are obviously going to be in the top 5 of the only player I guess you could argue was maybe Kevin Durant, but when you're looking at the accolades that those guys have, he pales in comparison. But to my list, same players, different order. Of course, LeBron James, I'm not going to go into that. You went into that plenty. Only thing I'll say is if you're the face of the NBA, you have to be at the top of the list. I mean, if the NBA revolves around you, as it does with LeBron James, in the playoffs, not in the playoffs, he's still morning conversation almost every day on sports media. You got to be the face. You got to be number 1 on this list. I put Tim Duncan number 2 just because the hardware. I'm big on winning. I always said this. I'm big on winning. From 2000 till he left in 2016, I believe he retired. Never had, or was it 2017? Might have been 2017. But
somewhere around
anyway, he never had lower than a 50-win season. I mean, that speaks for itself. This guy slayed those Kobe and Shaq's Lakers. I mean, they took a beating too, but they were able to slay them. They slayed one of the greatest defensive teams of all time. I believe that 2005 Detroit Pistons team slayed them. It's, I mean, I don't know how Kenyon Martin still shows his face after what Tim Duncan did to him in the 2003 finals. And last game almost had a quadruple double. He slayed the not 1, not 2, not 3 Miami Heatles in 2014. And I remember he had kind of lost his way from about 2011, 2014. He was still good, but he wasn't the Tim Duncan we knew. We could see the decline. 2015 came back slimmer, lost some weight, it's right back to his regular ways. Of course, they didn't win, but they were Zaza Pachulia not putting his foot under Kawhi Leonard away from possibly slaying the Golden State Warriors in that series. So with all that, he has more MVPs than Kobe and Shaq. Defensive Player of the Year, he doesn't have. I'm talking about all NBA defensive teams. He's probably one of the. I think he has 15, so he's got one of the highest amounts of those. Greatest power forward of all time. So if you're the greatest of something, you got to be number 2. Put Kobe number 3 for all the same reasons you did. I penalized him 1 MVP. I mean, that's kind of crazy considering his run, the championships he won, the scoring titles, all of that. But he only won 1 MVP. Plus, the Lakers kind of stunk after the Shaq trade for a little while. So it took him a while to get back to winning ways. So I got to penalize him for that. Number 4, Steph. I just think the first unanimous MVP vote of all time, when you're up against guys like LeBron and Michael Jordan, that's crazy. 4 rings in that time span changed the game. Everybody's trying to be like Steph. I see it every weekend at AU. Everybody's trying to shoot from half court and wherever and put up jumpers. So he changed the game. So that's why I put him at 4, and Shaq at 5 only because some of his peak years, even though 2000 I believe was his peak when he started peaking, his 90s runs was pretty good. He got an Orlando Magic team to the finals off his back, pretty much. They had Penny, but it was off his back. But through the 2000s, he was great, but then he had that steep decline. I think after his first couple of years in Miami, it was just downhill from there for Shaq. And I think that kind of hurts his legacy because it was so steep from being just the dominant big man that was just unstoppable to barely being able to get 10 rebounds. So that's my top 5. But let's look at the complete list here, and we're going to add that to here. I'm going to hide this so we can see the full list. As you can see, for them, it was number 1, LeBron James, number 2, Kobe Bryant, 3, Steph Curry, 4, Tim Duncan, and 5, Shaquille O'Neal. And of course, the rest are who they are. What do you think about this list? Did ESPN get it right? Is there any glaring omissions, any glaring things they did wrong with this list? Do you like the placement of everybody? Is there somebody that you think is too low, too high? What you think about ESPN's top 25?
Ooh, okay. Well, to start, before I even jump on Steph Curry being at 3, which is that's crazy, but let's go down the list, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's start at number 22. We got a guy named Draymond Green, right? I get it. The defense is all world. He even got the championships, but let's pump the brakes on this Draymond Green hype train, right? And we talk about omissions. Well, first things first. You got Draymond Green over Russell Westbrook. Insanity. That's laughable. That's that's crazy. Number 1, right? And the fact that he's over Paul Gasol. Again, ludicrous, but hey, I'm not super mad at that because Paul Gasol is great, but again, kind of splitting hairs when you start breaking down the numbers in the hardware. But you got Luka on this list already. What has Luka done to be top 25 of this century yet? Can he get there? For sure, but right now, like, it's a little too early.
Who are you putting in his place?
I got a plethora of guys. You got Dwight Howard. He's not on this list. He can replace Draymond Green. But I knew since Dwight Howard wasn't on the top 75 list, I knew they were going to pull some crazy stuff because apparently they just do not like Dwight Howard. Do not give him his
I don't
respect.
get it.
Where's Carmelo Anthony? Like, came in the same.
I didn't realize that.
He came in the same. You got D Wade. You got you don't got Bosh on this list, but you got D Wade and Bron, like, all in the same class. Like, it's crazy, bro. No Kevin Love, man. Like, what are we talking about here? Like Kevin Love. If you want to take some people off the list, hey, Paul Gasol, hey, we can see you later. All right, Draymond Green, we'll see you later too. Right? Like, what are we talking about here? Like, we got James Harden. Like, he's 13.
I think Harden
is great. Harden is great.
Postseason,
he's kind of some but regular season, like, yes, he's revolutionized that point guard position.
They had to change up rules just because of who he was. So
now, why is Jokic higher than D Wade? What are we doing here, man?
You just gotta look at this.
MVPs?
3 MVPs.
Man, don't miss me with that, bro. Like, miss me with that one. That's insane. You got
and a Finals MVP. Finals MVP. Come on now.
You
got Jokic. I think Jokic is too high at 7.
He's 7 already. Like, these guys just started doing things. Like, come on, bro. We're putting them over guys like Bosh, Love. There's no Kyrie on this list. No Melo, Paul Pierce. Like, what are we talking about here?
But he's already rising quickly up in any ranks. He's his triple doubles, I believe, he's what number? I can't remember what number he is, but didn't he pass LeBron? Or
I don't know if he's past
but he's close.
LeBron.
I mean, he's
I know
like
he's
in the
knocking
top.
at the doorstep, but
Yeah, he's like right up there in this short amount of time. That's big.
I,
From guys that
I'm,
have played 20 years, he's in his. I can't even think of how many years. I think he was drafted in 2014, 2015.
something like that.
So he's like 9, 10 years in, and he's already passing some guys that have been there for 20 plus years. So I mean, I don't know if I put him 7.
That's high considering D
That's high.
Wade. He's a 3-time champion, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah, Garnett. I mean, Garnett was great, but number 6, he had a pretty steep fall too. I mean, he was defensively, he was still solid pretty much until he went back to Minnesota. Brooklyn, he was okay, but number 6 all time, 2000s.
that's kind of high, man.
That's very high.
Like I said,
I
bro,
don't
no
see Paul
Dwight.
Pierce. Paul Pierce
Like I
ain't on
said,
it.
no Paul Pierce, no Dwight, no Carmelo, no Kyrie, no Bosh, no Love. I'm just saying, bro. Whoever's doing these lists, I'm telling you, they need to be drug tested immediately because it just doesn't make any sense. Like, unless they have a defined criteria that they're doing this list by, even if it's their opinion, like, you can't tell me Dwight Howard should not be on this list. You just can't
Absolutely.
tell me.
Absolutely.
Even Melo, like what? One of the greatest scorers to ever play this game isn't even on this list.
Yeah, I think maybe Draymond, because he's in the media now and he's making some friends in high places. Maybe that's how he got his name in there, because Dwight Howard not being there is criminal, really, when you think about it. All he did in that span, I mean, he took a decent Orlando Magic team to the finals, and he did it off of his back, which of course went out on him, but he put them on his back, and you saw what he did to LeBron and the Cavs. He was a beast. So yeah, his is really. I don't get that one. I don't get why Dwight would not be in the top 25 of the 2000s. That's just. And where's your boy Gil?
Well, I don't know about that one, but I mean, what has Chris Paul done to be over AI? You know, how is he over Kawhi? Like,
yeah.
what has Chris Paul really done? Like, he puts up decent numbers in the regular season. One of the best passers I've seen with my 2 eyes, for sure. Give him all his flowers. You know, I think he gets a little overrated when it comes to those like steals and like defensive selections. Like in his peak, yeah, he was a very solid point guard defender. Definitely a good point of attack defender as well. But the playoffs matter, man. And when you have a tendency, same thing I hold to James Harden, and when you have a tendency of shrinking in the biggest moments when your team needs you the most, you have to be accountable for that. Right? It's the same reason why people take LeBron out of the GOAT debate, because of that one final series against Dallas. He didn't show up, right? And you want to make an argument that your GOAT has to show up every time he's called to rise to the occasion. If he doesn't do it, okay. I can't be mad at that. I might disagree, but I mean, come on, like this list is just insane, bro. I mean,
yeah, I'm not too mad. I'm mostly mad about Dwight and maybe Carmelo. Carmelo, he didn't have a lot of deep. Well, he did have with Denver. They did have a deep playoff run. Denver, he did lead them to, I believe, the conference finals. You know, he should be up there definitely. Paul Pierce, I mean, he was top small forwards for a while, and I think he should definitely be up here.
be
Who
up
I
there
would take?
before Ginobili.
Nah, he shouldn't be up there before Ginobili.
Tripping.
We're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there. Ginobili deserves his spot at some part of the top 25. Tony Parker as well. The only ones I would take off was Draymond Green, definitely.
I'm
I
putting
mean,
Bosch over Gasol too.
Bosh over Gasol.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that only because Pau Gasol never led his own team. He's always been a sidekick kind of player. So, and Chris Bosh before Miami, and I guess a lot of people judge him from Miami. They don't judge him from his Toronto days. Bosh was the go-to guy for and an all-star for Toronto Raptors. So, gotta go. And Vince Carter ain't there.
Yeah, no Vince.
Tracy McGrady. Wow. I mean, Tracy, I can understand because he was out. He had a lot of injuries, so I guess they're going to penalize him for that. He didn't have a long run, but his run was kind of historic when you think about it.
I'm taking Kawhi's Toronto year over anything I've seen from Chris Paul.
Well, absolutely. I mean,
Like,
Kawhi's Toronto year is almost one of the best, runs ever
I
for
think he
one
has an
team.
argument to be top 10.
Who,
I mean,
Kawhi?
yeah, when you look at how he breaks down, you could put Kawhi over Chris Paul for sure. I would give him a slight edge over Jason Kidd. I think he's achieved more. I think Jason Kidd
Mm,
did more at his position
yeah,
than Kawhi Leonard, but we look at Steve Nash. Again, I think Nash did more for his position. I don't think he didn't have the playoff success that Kawhi did. I
no.
would put Kawhi over him. I'm putting Kawhi over Giannis, even though I do like Giannis's. I like his
Ooh.
championship, but let come on now. Let's stop.
Ooh.
Can
Okay.
Giannis put together a couple seasons of that level before we want to just jump him over Kawhi? And yes, Kawhi's injury history is like no other. But we talking right now, not when they retire, because I think all time Giannis will be better than him. But right now, we got to put some respect in that Toronto year, man, and his years in San Antonio. Right,
I agree,
that
but
was winning basketball.
I think they're going to award those accolades and those awards too. Giannis is a two-time MVP, so Kawhi has none. So
I mean, Finals MVPs. I mean, he's
I mean, yeah, he's got what, two of them. So
mm-hmm.
I mean that those count.
Two-time Finals MVP.
Those
He's what
count. Those count. He was
it?
what,
Two-time champ.
two-time defensive player of the year, I believe.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he's got accolades, but
But I said, this is fresh off the dome. If I actually had time to look at all their resumes and everything,
yeah,
I could definitely make a more compelling argument. But this is just fresh
yeah,
off the dome. But I'm just saying, this list just doesn't sit right with me. I don't think either they didn't do their homework or they just really wanted to be controversial. Because unless they have a specific criteria, this list to me makes no sense.
I think a lot of it is recency bias, which is why we see Jokic, Giannis, even Luka on here. People's memories aren't that great. They're not going to think back to Paul Pierce being great. I don't see how they can't remember when Dwight was great, because he was great for a while and he was one of the greatest ones during that time. I don't understand that one. And Carmelo. So those guys are really the ones that I just don't understand. But I mean, I don't think this is super egregious. I do think you could put Danny Green in that number 25 spot, though, if you think about it.
No, absolutely not.
My man won a championship. Danny Green won a championship.
He is a role player.
With three different teams.
CW, you were out of your mind, dog. No,
he won
absolutely
2014,
not.
2019 with them Raptors, 2020 with your Lakers.
He is a great role player, but 25 players of the 25, he probably 125.
Oh, come on, Danny.
Come on now.
He won that, man.
You can fact check me if you want, but shoot, I mean, talking about the best 25 players, he ain't nowhere. He ain't even sniffing.
I mean, that was obviously a joke, but just
no.
You could. Some people would, if you told them that, if you broke it down like that. Some people say, "Oh yeah," same way they say Robert Horry should be lifted up in the GOAT debate or whatever, because
those are the people who probably sit around sniffing paint all day.
Well, man, you gotta have a hobby. But but yeah, that is ESPN's top 25 players of the 21st century. Will that be different come 2050, 20? I think we're going to see Victor's name up there, and
Most definitely.
I think some of these will probably drop off. But I'll give him. I mean, I'll give him this list. It's not terrible.
Yes, it is.
I don't think
Don't
it's terrible.
sugarcoat it. Do
I
not
don't
be
think it's
nice.
terrible.
This list is cheeks. Come on, man.
No, it's
This
not.
list is cheeks. Bro, like, come on, bro. No Dwight Howard, bro. I'm not
I
listening
mean,
to
that's
this.
that's the big one.
Carmelo needs to be on this
Dwight
list.
and
Like,
Carmelo are the big ones that definitely deserve to be on this list.
like,
But other than them,
and then the ranking is just putrid. Like, come on, bro. Like, what are we talking about, bro? Draymond being higher than 3 guys on this list that are actual. 2 of them are MVPs, and Paul Gasol he's just in a
one's
different
a Hall of
class.
Famer. Pau Gasol's a Hall of
Like,
Famer. So
I like Draymond's championships, and I like what he did for Golden State. But come on, bro. Let's stop, bro. Stop. This list is cheeks. Anybody who disagrees,
I mean,
I
Draymond
don't know.
bought
I don't know what's going on, bro.
he bought himself onto this list, but
Probably did.
everybody else, there's arguments to make for everybody else.
Steve Nash over Jason Kidd's kind of wild, but hey.
Well, I mean, Steve Nash got
Overrated MVPs?
He's got
MVPs that we know daggone well he shouldn't have got.
He's got MVPs. They're going to weigh those higher than no MVPs.
Go back and look at that season and tell me, did he actually deserve to win MVP?
Absolutely not. But he won
Thank
it,
you.
and that's what they're going to look. If you have no knowledge of these players, haven't seen them play 1 second of basketball, but you look at their resumes, you're going to see MVP on Steve Nash's. You won't see an MVP on Jason Kidd's. So obviously, if you won an MVP during this time and Jason Kidd was playing during that time, you must be better than that player. So it feels like that's how they constructed this, is just looking at the resumes and building off of that.
Now, why is But then my question is, why is KG above D Wade? If we're looking at resumes,
I mean, KG has an MVP.
So does D Wade.
A regular season MVP?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he got an MVP.
No.
D Wade, hold up.
D Wade's he's got a finals MVP.
Hold up.
He's never had a regular season MVP.
He had no regular season MVP?
No. If he did, I cannot remember the year.
He won finals MVP. Man. I ain't even buying that.
That's why I'm telling you, that's why Garnett's over there. That's why Garnett is at 6. I think that's not right. I think you could put, well, no, I'm gonna not say that. I was about to say you could put Dwight where KG is, but no, you can't put him that high.
Jesus Christ, no.
But
I ain't buying it, bro.
How about
KG over D Wade is gross, bro. That's criminal.
No, that's not. That's
criminal. Come on,
that's not criminal.
D Wade isn't better than KG.
KG from like 2000 to 2010, 11 was.
He was great.
He was great. He was doing more for his team than I believe D Wade was in those years, other than maybe 2005 through and 2006. And yeah, that's about it. I think KG was more impactful for his team than D Wade was during that time.
You're talking about both of these guys are two-way players, and D Wade was the all-time leader in blocks for his position.
Okay, yeah.
More than Kobe, more than MJ.
I understand that.
Like,
KG got it done. KG got it done on both ends.
Night in, night out.
He was battling the greatest power forward of all time. He was battling.
And D Wade was going against Kobe.
But is Kobe the greatest?
What, the greatest
The
shooting
great,
guard? Arguably.
nah, he's
There's
not good.
people have debates between him and MJ on who's better
Okay.
because
So you
Kobe.
think
You literally clone MJ. That's Kobe, and then you have someone who shoots a little bit more threes, right?
so so you would take D Wade's career over KG's career?
Yes,
No, no, no,
I'm taking
no,
D Wade's
no,
career, and he
no.
played better when he was older.
KG played. I mean, he still played defense when he was older. He just wasn't as offensively good when he got older, but he was still a really solid defender.
So I mean, D Wade wasn't no slouch on that. I'm not saying he was a ball
Man,
stopper,
you were
but
fussing about D Wade in those Miami series, and he wasn't even that old.
man, his knees were. He might not have been that old, but his knees sure were. His knees were about 45 going on 60.
I have no issues with Garnett above D Wade. I don't think that's a problem.
That's insane, bro.
I don't have a problem with Giannis being 11. So we both agree, though, the top five, even though the order might not be what we believe, as you saw, but top five they got right.
Yes, top 5 they got right. 6 through 10, yeah. You know, and then 11 through 25, you could just
I mean, I
put a
don't care.
whole big ribbon on that pile of dump.
Yeah,
Call it a
but
day.
6 through 10. Okay, well, let's go to 6 through 10. Are all of those worthy to be in that 6 through 10 range?
And worthy is a strong word because Jokic is great, man.
Who's not worthy? Who's not worthy? Put it that.
Man, Jokic ain't been, man. That's a couple years. It's a small sample size that we see this level of Jokic, and then to put him over somebody else who has a body of work, like D Wade, like KD's body of work. I mean, Dirk's to a lesser extent. Like these guys are like, what are we talking about, bro? Like Jokic still has more to do and more to prove, but to go ahead and put him over these guys, his career's not even done yet. Like,
okay, so would you drop? Where would you put Jokic? What range would you put Jokic in?
I think I put him above Dirk. I think he's above Dirk in my eyes. But them other guys,
you put him at a 9.
I put him at 9.
Okay. D Wade, you would.
I put D Wade. I put him at 6.
Wow. Okay.
And then I'd have KG at 7, Jokic at 8, and then
Durant at 9. Still, you think you put Jokic over Durant?
Nah, I can't do that. Nah, put them 2. Jokic at 9, KD at 8. All time, yeah, KD at 8. He ain't all time better than D Wade, so nah, KD at 8.
So with this, I'm wondering, let's just think, do they count international play as well?
Do they count international play? I mean, that's
in that case, I will put KD at 6. If we're doing his NBA career and his international career, I'd put him at number 6.
I don't know if I could put him at 6. I'm not mad if someone put him at 6, but I don't know. His rings with Golden State weren't really.
Two rings. He got an MVP. He's looking at getting 4 gold medals.
I think he's comfortable at 8. I mean, I just don't, because he hasn't done anything. When have we seen KD actually do something when it mattered when he wasn't on Golden State? Right. If we're talking about 2000 to 2024, we got to take the good and we got to take the bad. I'm not going to disrespect him and put him way down the list because he's phenomenal. But when we talk about the postseason, he has had no success since he left Golden State. You could say Golden State saved his career.
So
he's always going to be a Hall of Fame level scorer.
We're not
but a
going
Hall of Fame career, and he's not. He doesn't do it in the big moments anymore. He just doesn't.
So we're not going to give him any kind of grace for his OKC years.
I mean those years. I mean, he didn't get him over the hump.
He got him to the finals.
I mean, look. the narrative got to stop, right? If we giving KD props for getting that team to the finals, but we want to poo-poo LeBron and all his championship runs, it's got to stop somewhere. I'm not trying to go back and forth about it here, but I'm saying they want to hold LeBron accountable. Fine, we're gonna hold everybody else accountable. I'm not gonna give him just because he got them to the finals. Did he get the job done?
I mean, that's
okay,
fair.
no, you say no, then props to you, but I'm only giving you so much credit.
Okay, so you don't agree. I think KD, if we count his NBA seasons and his international play, would be in the 6th rank, would be number 6 for me. But you disagree. You think because of his inabilities in the playoffs to be the man, other than when he was with a team that technically didn't need him, would have probably been there without him.
They were 73-9 without him.
I mean, yeah,
you tell me.
But they didn't win. But yeah, 6 through 10, I don't have a huge problem. Everything else, yeah, you could move one guy up, a couple guys down. Draymond Green can go. Luka could go. I mean, really, in reality, I think he gets in there based off of his All NBA selections. Maybe, I don't know, but he can go because, I mean, the best he's done, he has taken his team to the conference finals and now to the finals. But as you said, how you judge this is you don't care that they got to the finals. Is they didn't get the job done with that team. So if we're going by yours, which I'm okay with that, then yeah, I would drop Luka off. But those are really the only names I would completely drop off this list is Draymond and Luka. Everybody else, I think, has a fair enough argument to be in the top 25 of the 21st century. There's no Amari Stoudemire either, even though he had a steep decline and he only had a couple years that he was, I guess, at a higher level. But I don't have a real problem with that. I think Allen Iverson, just because of his impact, that's pretty low at 18. But we got to think he got a lot of his notoriety during the 90s, the late 90s. So maybe some of that impact came from those years. But I do think he should be up there a little more. He took a Sixers team that should have had a chance to the finals. But again, your criteria, that shouldn't count. So AI can stay at 18. So,
I mean, AI's team was different, though. We saw what he brought to that team. And you can't give KD the same level of credit because KD's team was significantly better than AI's team. That's the only point I'll make. Because those teams are no comparison whatsoever. In terms of the talent level, yeah, no comparison whatsoever. And he ran up against Shaq and Kobe. Like, that matters.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing was he did play against the 2001 Lakers, which was one of the most dominating teams of all time. So he unfortunately had to run into that freight train. But I think you could bump AI up a few. And as much as I love Manu Ginobili, I don't think there's any way you could put him above Allen Iverson in anything. So I have to put my man Manu down and put AI up. Other than that, I'm okay with it.
Taking AI over Chris Paul too. Hey,
I'm fine with that one too.
Shoot,
I could see AI, and you'll probably disagree with this, but I could see AI in the top 10 just based off of his impact on the game and who he was, what he brought to the game.
I don't know if I'd go top 10 just because he didn't do a lot of winning to go with those numbers and with that impact. Now, everything else outside of winning, for sure, easily probably even top 5. But we talk about winning here. We talk about all things, accolades, statistics, et cetera, et cetera. So he's comfortably below the top 10, but he's not too far. He's just knocking at that door. He ain't getting in though.
Yeah, no. Well, I'd make an argument for him to get in, but that's just me. But once again, this is ESPN's top 25 players of the 21st century, and we'll see what they do for the next time they want to do this and get people riled up. But with that said, we do thank you guys for all of the love. 96 subs. We're right there at the goal of 100. Once we hit that, you will get that GOAT debate. You will see me slaughter BigNige. Jordan
Okay.
is easily the GOAT. So if you want to see that and hear that, we're going 3 rounds, and trust me, it's going to be a unanimous decision when I'm done.
No. Okay. Let's pump the brakes there, but it's definitely going to be a good one. Sparks are going to fly. Help us get to that 100 subscriber goal, so you can see BigNige put the smack down on CW and his blasphemous takes.
Won't happen. But once again, like I said, we thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming out for the polls that we've been doing. Interesting fact is, I haven't checked it since earlier today, but I put up a poll similar, talking about the top 25. Who would they put at the top? They're number 1 for the most, the greatest player from the 21st century. LeBron James didn't get a single vote out of the 4 choices, which was LeBron, Kobe, Tim Duncan, and Steph Curry. Last time I checked it, Kobe Bryant was leading on that poll. So, I mean, the fans have spoken. So, again, please come back, guys. Hopefully we'll have something later this week. Hopefully we'll have some basketball with BigNige, where he'll give you some insight on some basketball topics. And we'll be back here, hopefully Tuesday, 7:30 every week, if our if schedules align properly. But we're gonna try to keep this same time and day from here on out. And hopefully you guys will come back and join us. Next time I did create a Discord, so I'll drop that in here. If you guys want to join the Discord, we can, there you can discuss things. We can possibly watch some of the Olympic Games there, because you won't get flagged or anything. So it'll be our own little area to kind of just hang out. So hopefully some of you guys will join us there. And I hope everyone has a great, wonderful rest of their week. And any last parting words, BigNige?
No, just appreciate y'all for pulling up. Appreciate the support. Make sure you comment down below on your thoughts on this blasphemous top 25 list, and how you think Team USA has been looking, throughout the Olympics. And, do you think they'll take on South Sudan tomorrow? Let us know down below. And as always, we appreciate the support.
Yep. So we will see you guys next week. And once again, have a great rest of your week.